Okay, welcome to week 2 of Finding a Better Job. This week, we are talking about setting some expectations for your job search and also some long-term expectations or goals for your career. Week 1 was about owning your job, right? Which was taking responsibility for your career advancement, understanding that no one's going to do it for you. No one is going to be looking out for, your success in your career other than yourself. And we also spent some time thinking about whether you need a better job or you need to make your current situation better by changing your attitude. If you currently have a job, and then if you do not have a job, your job is to get a job, which means that you're going to be putting in some significant amount of time to reach that goal. Now, now with this week talking about expectations. What are expectations? Expectations, something that we do as humans. We do it unconsciously. We are constantly setting expectations with other people, assuming that they know things, assuming that uh, our message has been heard. But it's really important to set appropriate expectations with others, especially throughout the job search process. Um, and most of that comes in, during or in the midst of that interview and the onboarding process if you move through the hiring process. And so I want to touch on some of those ideas today. And then next week, we're going to get into a little bit more, what I call tactical information, which will help you make some moves toward actually getting that job, going beyond just the job search or the application process. But this week, I want to take the opportunity to first reiterate something that if you've gone through Education for Better Work, right, the first 6-week self-reliance class that I offer, you understand this very well, or I hope that you've begun to really understand this. And it is that companies and clients hire people who provide value. And it's important to understand that in the job market today, your contribution to the company that you apply for is unknown when you apply, right? Unless you do a few specific things that we'll talk about, but mostly they don't know anything about you. So it's important to learn skills and network with others, but it's going to take convincing a hiring manager of your value to get hired. Now, I want to tell you a story about a young man who came looking for a job when I was the hiring manager of a small business. So he inquired about the job in person, and I had a little bit. I definitely had a lot of flexibility in that role as the hiring manager. And most of the time, if I thought someone had a good chance of being a good employee, I would just go ahead and bring them on for their first day of work. Um, you know, I, I said, moreover, I like to give people a chance to learn about the job on their first day. And, we'll only know if it's a good fit after, they see what we do and what they're capable of. So I said, come in tomorrow and complete some paperwork and we'll get you on the work schedule. And, he effectively got hired on the spot, right? Pretty lucky guy. Um, but he did not inquire about the pay. So he returned the next day. I had prepared a place in my office for him to fill out his paperwork. And on his employment documentation, it stated what his starting hourly rate would be. And at this point, he told me that he needed a job that paid more and he left. And I want to talk about a few of the, I, I put down in the presentation his mistakes, but now as I'm about to flip the slide, I think it would be better to say his opportunities, right? That would be more a tactful way of saying it, but some missed opportunities. Okay. But make no mistake about it. He did make a few mistakes because he effectively turned down that opportunity without doing much on his end first, right? So first, he didn't do his due diligence. He didn't ask qualifying questions about the job for which he was inquiring. So you need to ask the right questions to determine if a job is worth your time and effort, even considering applying there. Number two, he brought nothing to the table. He didn't sell himself to me and negotiate a higher starting rate, nor did he provide any resume or a portfolio to show he could actually do the job. And finally, he misunderstood the job market. He expected to receive value from his employer rather than providing that upfront value. Okay. So the next concept that I'm going to share with you may actually surprise some of you before we dive into it a little bit more. And it is that your salary has nothing to do with job performance. The base salary of a job is based on the budget of the company. They have a set range for the position that you're applying for. And candidates who show more upfront potential value to the employer are awarded a higher starting salary. But it has nothing to do with your actual performance. Performing well, very well at your job is rewarded with bonuses and maybe certain kinds of compensation, even pay raises, right? Further down the line. So I would say don't try to negotiate salary on how hard you will work. Instead, negotiate salary based on how much you already know, which is your expertise. And if you understand this, you can negotiate higher salaries and additional incentives like bonuses and compensation packages. Remember, and this is going to be, the overarching theme of our Finding a Better Job class, which is your first priority needs to be becoming self-reliant and taking care of yourself and your family. And remembering that that's no one else's first priority. So you have to make sure and make these things known that are important to you when you are applying, interviewing, and getting out there trying to find a job opportunity. Whatever, unfortunately, the least that a company or a client can offer you is generally what they will offer you first. And then it's your job to show them that you can provide that upfront value to them. And you may be able to negotiate that higher starting rate or additional compensation packages and things like that. Okay. Now, our homework this week actually goes really in depth. And this is one of the differentiators between Education for Better Work and Finding a Better Job. These homework assignments will become a little bit more involved, a little bit more time consuming. This week definitely has a little bit more of a time commitment on it, but it's already available to you in the Google Drive folder. And I would just encourage you to start just picking away at it, giving it 20 minutes or so a day. And there's no reason that you can't complete it this week. Prepare yourself for future weeks because we're going to be putting in some time, really, really getting into analyzing job postings and drafting resumes, all of which, again, can feel like a second job. And I know it's going to be hard at times when you are, either getting done with your studies for the day, if you're a full-time student, or if you do have a job and you have to come home from that job, maybe even take care of your studies, and then you also have to apply for jobs. It can take a lot out of you. For the fitness background that I have, I would encourage you to make sure and take care of yourself, get plenty of sleep, drink plenty of water, try to move your body during the day. And that way you have the extra energy to get the necessary work done. Because again, no one's going to be out there applying for jobs for you. No one's going to network with other people for you. So if you don't do it yourself, it won't happen. But with that, our second week is complete. Our second week presentation, that is. We have a whole second week ahead of us. So I hope that some of you found some value from this Know Your Value module.